Hi chaps, Simo P here from Beard, Biceps and Batchat. I've had a request to see what is in my garage, or if you're American, garage. So I thought I'd show you guys, talk you through what tanks I've got, why I've got them. I imagine you're probably going to be a little bit surprised with some of the tanks I've got, or not got rather. But it would be worthwhile just to show you why I have them and sort of how I pick what tanks to go for and how to grind. Now, initially, when I started playing the game, I did a lot of research on what line to go for first, and I picked the Russian IS-7 line. As you can see, I no longer have the IS-7. Sold it, it was crap, didn't enjoy it. It was basically, for me, I preferred the IS-3 and the T10. They were all far, far better than the IS-7, so that's not even going to be in my garage. The way I picked my lines that I wanted to grind and tanks that I have was done by basically deciding what I liked at the very end of the line, so the tier 10s that I liked. And the way I did that was, actually most of it was probably based off PC reviews on tanks that were most used in Clan Wars or Strongholds, which we don't actually have on PC, but I wanted to be prepared. And then what I do is I go back down the line to pick up the tanks again that I like. I generally, if I'm grinding a line, I'll sell a tank to pay for the next one if I can't be bothered grinding out the necessary silver for a couple of hours. So that generally means, as you're going to see in a second, I generally have a lot of higher tier tanks. So let me just get rid of that, just so you can see what I've got in my garage. So just starting off with the Americans, first thing I've got is the Locust. I think I purchased it when I got my first 3 days of premium. Couldn't resist getting it. It's got 94,000 experience in it. Now the reason for that is I use it a lot when there's certain types of grinding ops. For whatever reason, the Locust is a great little tank. You put a tier 10 crew in it in a tier 3 game, you do a lot of damage and you generally get through the op pretty quick. Blitzen, that was again just a free giveaway. I generally hardly ever play it. Short range gun, I'm sure it's fun, it's just not for me. Now we've got the Lycan as well. I quite like playing this tank. For the past 4 months I'd say, I've really enjoyed playing light tanks. Seen a lot of videos, beer guys do a lot of stuff with them. I just like the way they play and how you got to think a bit more. So we picked the Lycan over the Craft Panther or whatever the big bloody was it Russian or Japanese tank? Well, either way, we picked the Lycan over it. Then we have the T57 heavy tank. Had to get that tank. I quite like auto loaders, and if it's on a fairly mobile platform for a heavy, I like it a lot. Use that tank a fair amount, but not as much as I do the E5, which I've had more recently. With the T57 line, there wasn't anything apart from the Bulldog that I need to buy back. That was pretty much the only tank that I was in love with in the line, if you will. So I just kept the T57. I've got to grind some silver to get the Bulldog back. E5, self-explanatory. I got this after the buff. It's a great little tank. I love it. My average damage in it is probably between sort of 2,000 and 4,000. I'd love to say it's because I'm great, but the tank's just overpowered as hell. Now with that, there's a couple of good tanks in this line. T29, T32. I purchased a T29 back for Tank Bowl. Hated it. It's just too slow. Sold it again after a couple of matches. I've actually got much better stats than the T32, even though it's pretty much got the same gun, but faces tier 10 tanks. I have no idea why that is. It could be down to the mobility, but I imagine I'm probably going to grab the T32 back from it. Now this is a bit of a weird one. So I didn't particularly want to grind up to tier 10 in any British line. There were no tier 10 tanks that appealed to me. So after I'd picked out the tier 10s I wanted, you've seen 2 of them there, I decided to look at tanks at certain tiers that were very good for their tier. So the Cromwell at tier 6 is a very, very, very good British tank. I haven't played it as much as I probably should, but I played it quite a lot when I got it initially, to the point it's a it's a tier 6 vehicle with a crew with 2 crew skills and working on its third. So what I decided to do today was, if I just show you, is finally start progressing up that line to the Centurion AX. So we'll buy the Centurion one probably later on today, start grinding that out. We got some horrible stock grinds to do there. I'm not looking forward to that. We had the Comet, we sold that. Generally, if I'm not playing a tank, I just get rid of it. 9 times out of 10 I'm playing tier 8 and above games anyway. That's not just through personal preference. I just like the end game tanks a little bit more than lower tier stuff, although I do sort of delve into it. The next tank we've got is the PZIC. Now, you're going to notice 53,000 experience on this little bugger. So I use this tank again. If there's German ops that need to be completed for events or free tanks, I'd jump on this little bad boy. It is nasty, the gun's great on it, it's very, very fast, it's very, very fun to play. Just to point out, you'll notice I'm missing probably a premium for the British, which is the Fury. Could not grind it, couldn't get it. It was a nightmare, couldn't complete the op in time. And the Centennial didn't complete the op in time for that either. So I was a little bit gutted, I missed out on that. Other tank is, well, the next one in the German line is the Hammer. So it's got almost 500,000 experience in this. So when this came out, I absolutely destroyed playing this. I know a lot of people don't like it, don't like the paint job on it. I had a blast with it. I love playing that tank. One of the weird things you're going to notice here is the crew in that is a 1, 2, 3. It's got 5 crew skills. Essentially, it's a tier 9/tier 10 crew. The reason I have no other German tanks is because I was grinding up to the Waffle 100. I got to the tier 9, the Waffenträger, and I had a good hard think. I decided I just didn't want the Waffle. I like auto loaders, but I like them on more mobile platforms. So the T57, the Batchat, pretty much the Waffle just doesn't appeal to me. It's a big target as soon as it's spotted, long reload. It just doesn't appeal to me. With that being said though, this little bad boy I do like. Love the Borsig. I know it's had its view range nerfed a little bit, but that only really matters late game. Oh sorry, late game? No, late game. Early game, everyone else is spotting for you anyway, so your own view range doesn't particularly matter that much. It's just a great little tank, so we'll be buying the Borsig back as well. So I've also grinding up to the Batchat. The reason for that is the channel is obviously called Beard, Biceps and Batchat. Now I've got a beard, I've got some biceps because I'm a human, but I do not have a Batchat. There's going to be a point, people are going to notice they've not seen any Batchat gameplay, so I'm doing a series on the minute where I'm just grinding up. Honestly, really enjoying this line, far more than I thought I would. Now you'll also notice there's another premium missing here, which is the AMX CDC. I had the AMX CDC, I sold it. I didn't think I'd go up any of the French line ever, didn't need it, I preferred the 1.4 million gold. Massive, massive regret. You always need a tier 8 crew trainer for any tank line that you're going up. It just makes everything so much better. You're not messing around in tanks at 75% crew skill. You don't have to overtrain. But really enjoying this grind at the moment. Going to enjoy the 1390. The Law 40T, not particularly looking forward to, but I cannot wait to get my cheeky little paws on the Batchat. Now this tank, the Racinali, I can't even say it, but this was a recent premium giveaway by WG. Again, it's a fun little tank to play. I'm not going to get rid of it. I've learnt my lesson. I'm not selling premiums that I've had anymore. There'll be a use for it at some point. At the very least, it's good for getting overtraining crews. You know, it's not the end of the world. Now this little bad boy, I could not resist. A T-34-88. I love pretty much almost all the mediums on the Russian line. This is, I think, the only apart from the Locust, the only premium tank I've actually shelled out physical money for. So I was very keen to get on this. I use it a lot. It's got 200,000 damage on it. It's great. There's nothing bad about it except for I have a tendency to get one hit by arty in it, which is a bit of a nightmare, but I can live with that. Motherland, got that from the what was it, Defender of the Motherland op, something like that. That was the first premium I got. Oh, there we go. We got a star on it as well. We've one marked it. Love the tank. Great little tank. Very defensive rather than offensive. I use it a lot. It makes great money on it. I assume it's got one of my tier 10 crews in at the moment just to make some money on. T-54. These are sort of my go-to tanks at tier 10 when I'm looking to have some fun or platooning up with some of the guys, City, Chalky. But you'll see some of Siddy's videos on YouTube as well. I'll try and put a little link in the description. He's definitely worth checking out. So the T-54, that's not got a crew in it. It probably won't do. Essentially, I grinded up to the OBJ 140. Sold the T-54 to get the 140. And we had the opt for the Fatherland, Friend of the Fatherland, purchased the T-54 again and decided to get the T-62A. So this is the crew from the T-62A. Fairly similar layout to the OBJ 140 crew. It's essentially hide, lots of view range, and take advantage of the gun. Love playing these two tanks. Down that line there's really nothing I'm going to go back and get. I was potentially looking at going back and getting the T-34-85, but with the 88 there's just no point. This is probably fairly interesting, so I'll show you this because you're going to notice something. So as I was grinding up my first grind to tier 10, I was initially going up the IS4 line. So I got all the way up to KV3. How far did we get from unlocking that? Oh, pretty far. All the way up to the KV3 when I realised I like tanks with a bit more mobility. So I had to go all the way back to the, oh god, KV1, unlock the KV1S, KV85, IS, IS3, T10, up to the IS7, which I ended up selling because I didn't like it. So I would say the first 4 or 5 months of, 3-4 months of playing, probably a waste of time grinding those two lines, except for the IS3. Really regret that, very much so. KV1S kept this tank. Great little tank. You notice it's got the derp gun on. The reason it's got the derp gun on is for Defender of the Fatherland. It does 450 damage in one shot. Could not get rid of it. It's got 2 stars on it. It's a fun little tank to play if people are training stuff up, where I can platoon up with them, help them out. IS3, love this thing. I've 100,000 experience in it. To me, this is probably one of my most favourite tanks in the game. Love playing it. It's just so reliable. Now you notice it's not got any equipment on it because it's all on the Fatherland. So we got this. Oh god! After about 147 battles, so nothing too overly crazy. You'll also notice how stupidly how highly trained this crew is for a sort of tier 8 match. So it's got pretty much everything a brawling tier 8 heavy needs. The reason the sort of Fatherland's sort of equipped out rather than the IS3, it's essentially the IS3 but it's got a quicker firing gun, so I thought just sling the equipment on it. It gets extra credits, extra experience than an IS3. I can just swap them between both and just get the ×2, so it's a lot of fun. Now this is the T-34-100 on the check line. I am hating this tank. I thought I would love it. I was very excited for this. I love medium tanks. This doesn't have good mobility. The gun's not that good. The view range is crap. It's not even got 6 cents on it. This is one of the most painful grinds ever. So much so, it's literally on the back burner, where the only tanks I'm going to be actively grinding are the AMX 1375 and, well, it's not the Cromwell, it'll be the Centurion. Where is it? There we go. The Centurion one. Let's get that now. Actually, let's not waste any time. And we'll keep that because that'll just be fun. I'll enjoy that. So that's pretty much my garage, guys. If there's anything you're interested in seeing me play, hope it explains a little bit about how I play, how I decide what tanks I'm going to grind, how I decide what tanks I'm going to keep from a line. It's generally tanks that are very good at their tier that can be used for clan scrimmages, or that can help other people grind out lines they're looking for, but generally play higher tier games. Either way, I hope you found it interesting, informative, or I doubt funny, but you can at least laugh at my wasted 2-3 months grinding up the heavy lines I was getting rid of anyway. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. If you're finding the stuff on the channel informative, funny, or at least helpful, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you chaps later. Cheers, guys.